Welcome to another episode of the Daily Reset. My name is Dr. Job Mogire, and today we continue speaking about the foundations, which is a subject we started tackling in a focused manner on Saturday during the breakthrough meeting. We will continue working with the same framework, that acronym foundations with all the 10 pillars. And I hope that now they have become more familiar to you, each of the 10 pillars: focus, openness, unwavering, nurturing, action, trust, intrinsic, optimistic, never ending. Focus, openness, unwavering, nurturing, deep, action, trust, intrinsic, optimistic, never ending. Each of those words by themselves, even without paying attention to the entire pillar, each of those words are very meaningful. But when you now carry them as phrases, the phrases describing each of the pillars, they are really, really beautiful. My strongest recommendation to you is to utilize these as a way to crystallize your personal vision, whatever the vision is right now. Use it as a way to bring more clarity, especially when you clarify what kind of emotions you want to experience with regards to strengthening each of these pillars. For example, if you strengthen trust and integrity, what kind of experience of life do you want to have? How do you want to experience yourself? How do you want to experience other people, experience your work? When it comes, for example, to never-ending learning, what kind of emotional experience? Because at the end of the day, everything boils down to emotion. So I want us to take it one step further, because when you build a pillar that is attached to the core foundation is your faith. Then you have each of these pillars. The pillars you have in your house are meant to create stability. The question is, what is it that you are overcoming by adding one more pillar? You could have just 3 pillars and you're good to go. What are you trying to overcome by adding, for example, the pillar of openness to growth? What are you trying to overcome when you have the pillar of deep self-awareness? What are you trying to overcome with the pillar of optimistic outlook? And that is the conversation I would like us to look at today, because it's very easy to have favorite pillars. In the house, when you build a house has probably 20 pillars. None of those pillars is your favorite. You need all of them to create a stable, reliable, consistent, balanced, and adaptable foundation. If any pillar that is weak becomes your weak link, just like a chain, it doesn't matter how strong all the other chain connections are, the weakest chain will become the weakness of the entire chain. So that your weakest pillar will become your weak point. And especially if it's a weak pillar in something that is so central regarding how you operate, how you're wired to naturally operate, it will become your Achilles heel. And so that's the conversation we want to have today, to think really seriously about what is it you're trying to overcome with each of the pillars. When you are building the pillar of focus and goal setting, what are you trying to overcome? You are trying to overcome directionlessness and drifting. So that when you measure yourself with regards to the strength of your pillar, when you decide to measure your life, if you are a car and you have 5 gears, what gear are you going at? This provides you another lens. Are you living with a clear direction? Does your intentionality have directionality, or does it have drift? Are you drifting? Are you just cruising? Are you are you completing the year, or are you coming to the end of the year because the time for the year is over? It's it's time to cross over to the next one. Openness to growth. You use that to overcome the fixed mindset and embrace a growth mindset. You use openness to growth to embrace mistakes. I personally believe that if I asked somebody a question, one question, and they told me an answer and I knew whether they are growing or not growing, it will be this question. How many times this month have you felt as though you have made a mistake? How many times yesterday did you feel as though you've made a mistake or you're about to make a mistake? If you never feel as though you are making a mistake or you're about to make a mistake or you need to be cautious because you might make a mistake, it means you're doing the same old. You're operating so deep within your comfort zone where it is warm, you have the same bed sheets, and you are just really deep that you feel safe. You are not growing. There's no wind of change blowing in your life. If you have to relook at things because you worry that you might make a mistake, it's because you're operating at the edge of your comfort zone. You're operating on things that carry potential to teach you, to grow you, to train you, to toughen you, but also carry the potential that you will make mistakes, which is another way for life to teach you and toughen you and train you and prepare you and expand you and strengthen you. Unwavering resilience. That is how you get ready. You this should be phrased. This is how you avoiding setbacks. I don't know how to write that. Resilience empowers you to stop avoiding setbacks. When you avoid setbacks, you do not develop resilience. You only develop resilience in the face of setbacks. When you face and overcome setbacks, nurturing relationships, that gives you the power to avoid isolation and loneliness. Sometimes we sabotage ourselves because we are about to succeed in something that may isolate us from our circle. And so we sacrifice our contribution, our growth, our success at the altar of continuing to be in the circle we are in. When we rely for relational support from another source, then we do not have to sacrifice. We do not have to sacrifice our progress, our growth, our learning, so that we can continue staying connected. We are not at risk of being lonely. We are not at risk of being isolated. So that at work, if you have something important to do, or maybe in your business, or among the people you lead, you are not afraid of losing their love because you don't depend on their love. If you depend on their love and their affection, you become their slave. These are people you are leading. They are not your family. It's cordiality is important, but deep connection is not an absolute requirement because you have a solid foundation of nurturing relationships somewhere among the people that you truly love, the people that go from season to season. Deep self-awareness, because sometimes we are ignorant of the Constitution. Sometimes we are ignorant of what's going on in the healthcare space, in business, in media. But sometimes we are also self-ignorant, especially on things that other people can't see about me that I can't see about myself. The nuanced one is self-doubt. And I will touch back on self-doubt to give you a little bit of my personal perspective regarding how self-awareness empowers you to overcome self-doubt once we look at the next five. So those are the first five. The next five pillars, action and accountability, enables you to overcome the disease called somedayitis, somedayitis or tomorrowitis, procrastination. Believing for sure that tomorrow I will feel more like doing it. Tomorrow, I promise you, tomorrow I will feel like going to the gym. Tomorrow I will feel like completing this report. Tomorrow, just wait. Tomorrow you'll see how I complete this report. Tomorrow those clients, I will call all of them. I will call just 20. 20 for tomorrow. Just add the 20 from today. So tomorrow I will call the 40 really quickly like this. But today, tomorrowitis or somedayitis. Someday I will start. I have heard somebody say that someday is not a day of the week. It's nowhere in the calendar. Trust and integrity. Trust and integrity, overcoming dishonesty. And this is not dishonesty with other people. That's important, but most importantly, dishonesty with yourself. We have such a beautiful brain that sometimes it creates confusion so that we have an excuse to not take action. There are circumstances when you actually need to ask yourself the question is, why is my brain choosing to give me confused thoughts right now? Why am I choosing to feel confused? Have you ever seen, this is not you, this is other people. Have you ever seen somebody stay in a relationship where they absolutely should not be? And they go around asking like, what should I do? They are choosing to be confused. They know what they need to do, right? That is the power of the brain. And the brain, it's like, it's the brain chooses confusion. That is dishonesty with self, where the brain creates an intellectual explanation that protects us from facing the truth, right? We don't go to the, we don't want to, to dig down to the bottom of the bowl because we are at the bottom of the bowl. So we would rather leave it as it is, because when we dig down, we remove everything, then we realize, oh, the problem at the bottom was not the problem, it was me seated down there all the time. And so this now connects back to self-doubt versus self-distrust. Self-doubt relates to what you are going to do, what you need to do, how you will perform. Self-distrust relates to who you are. So self-distrust touches back on your identity. When you don't trust yourself, self-doubt has nowhere to play, because the game has already been won. Because I mean, if self-distrust has already won the league, self-doubt doesn't even have to show up. Self-doubt comes up at the level when you are afraid you might make mistakes, you might embarrass yourself. So hopefully you have sufficient self-trust to step out. But if you don't even step out, there is no room for self-doubt. Optimistic outlook enables you to overcome cynicism, which is different from skepticism. Skepticism is, should I trust this on face value, or do I need to investigate further? Cynicism is, I don't trust anyone. I don't trust anything. Especially, I don't trust anything from this particular source. Black and white thinking. And of course, negativity. Viewing everything 100% in terms of its limitations. And we don't view everything in terms of its limitations, but there are particular things that you can find yourself viewing in terms of limitations and barriers and obstacles. Never ending learning helps you overcome a closed mind, helps you overcome being stuck, helps you overcome stagnation. So there you have the 10 foundations with an extra layer, so that as you reflect on how these foundations fit in your life, then the question is, what are you trying to accomplish when you are working on this or this other foundation? What are you trying to achieve? What are you trying to overcome? What are you defending against? What are you preventing? What are you, what chain are you breaking? And if you look at each of these ingredients, directionlessness, fear of mistakes, avoidance of setbacks, which means you only attempt things that you know there will be no obstacles. And that is the best way to ensure that you succeed at doing nothing. You do nothing and you succeed 100%. The one thing that you will always win at is doing nothing. 100%. You come home clean. You did not make any mistakes. Self-doubt, self-ignorance, procrastination, self-distrust, external reliance, or what we call otheritis, depending on other people's opinions, other people's directions, other people's choices, negativity, and stagnation. Which of those, so let's flip this equation. So you can choose to build the pillars, or you can choose to allow one of the negatives to stay in your life, because if you don't have a pillar, it means that negative is going to stay. So which of the negatives would you want to allow? That's another way to look at it. One question is, which of the pillars do you want to build? Any pillar you don't build, it is negative, is going to be present, because you will not be ready. At least you will not be intentionally ready to counter that negative. So which of these negatives? Is it self-distrust? Is it cynicism? Is it stagnation? Which one would you want to allow? This is why the discussion around foundations is probably the single most important piece. There is no sustainable breakthrough. There is no sustained peak performance. There is no sustained success. There is no sustained growth, meaningful growth, without strong, reliable foundations. Reliable, consistent, stable, balanced, and adaptable foundations. Because the foundation helps you overcome the limitation, the negative side. You are defending. These are the tornadoes, and these are not tornadoes that you will escape. You will face these tornadoes. Your life is in tornado alley. The tornado of self-distrust always shows up. The tornado of procrastination is probably the biggest tornado. We need a worldwide warning about procrastination, stagnation, negativity. The tornado of directionlessness, fear of mistakes, avoidance of setbacks, choosing to narrow down, to scale down your actions and your goals and your vision so that you can avoid setbacks. The tornado of self-doubt, self-ignorance. You don't get to escape any of this. I don't get to escape any of this. And the purpose of speaking about foundations is to be clear that we are building foundations for the inevitable. What is the inevitable? All these quote unquote tornadoes. The stronger our foundations are, the more empowered we will be to deal with these things when they show up. And they show up, they only show up 7 days a week, then the rest of the days they don't. In a year, they only show up maybe about 12 months a year, then the rest of the time you don't have to deal with them. You deal with these things every single day. I would like to hear from a couple of you, then I will bring back the slides to see what have you, what are your key takeaways, and I would like us to do it live. I will start off, Gladys. For some reason, it highlighted you, so I'm going to start off with you. It highlighted you. I'm going to just call the people who are on video. Sylvia, if you're on video, I would like you to come on.
Good evening, Dr. Good morning. The reflection that is coming to mind is that this, what I'm overcoming are the reasons why probably I cry. So I'm asking myself, does this mean I will never cry again? I somehow enjoy crying. So that's a thought that was coming to my mind, because the reasons that we want to overcome are the reasons that cause us to release emotion to cry. So I know I've understood what it is, but the question that is now asking, does this mean those people who have built a strong foundation, they don't cry because you're able to have a firmness? And I don't have an answer to that. So that's what I'm marinating on.
Yeah. That's I do not have an answer to that question. That's something to think about really deeply. Or at least, if you have a foundation and your house is strong and the tornado comes and you cry inside your house instead of crying in the street. But that's that's all I'm gonna say for now. Thank you, Gladys. Let's hear from the lady with the vertical screen, Sylvia.
I'm mainly thinking about my foundational ingredients that need the most work. And so I was paying a lot of attention when you got to focus and goal setting. And what I picked is that I'm working to overcome directionless and drifting, which is quite spot on. And obviously, the action and accountability part is quite related to this goal setting and focus. So I am just thinking, and what I picked up is that I should be letting go of procrastination and thinking I can get to it tomorrow and doing it now, taking action.
Yeah, thank you. That's very succinct. Yeah, tomorrowitis or somedayitis. Thank you. Let's hear from Wanjiku and then Fanis.
Okay. As I look at the pillars, I was thinking each of them is a choice, and even not choosing is still a choice. So whatever I do, I've already chosen either the pillar or it's negative.
Yep. That's very succinct and beautiful. I'm going to have to think about that, and it's very true. Yeah, it's either you choose the presence of the pillar or the presence of the negative. There's no vacuum. One of them will be present. Thank you very much, Wanjiko. Let's hear from Fanis.
I think we were thinking on the same direction with Wanjiko, because on the pillars, you have the pillars, we have the pillars, then we have the negative. So it's like they cannot exist together. If there is one, there's an absence of the other one. So it's me. I have the choice, and the choice also involves training my mind, because our minds are like, how do you call the monkeys that I really have to be trained and disciplined. So yes, that's my take. Thank you.
Thank you very much. That's beautiful. If you allow me, I will just add one thing, that it's what we should also watch out for is any temptation to pursue perfect pillars, because that will be an illusion. You are always going to dance. There will be seasons when one of the pillars needs to be much stronger because the wind is blowing from the south, where the self-doubt is blowing. So that pillar, that side needs to be stronger. And at the beginning of the year, when you are in strategic season, maybe the focus pillar needs to be stronger because the wind is now coming from the north. So it's always going to be a dance. But most importantly, you will never get to 100% self-trust, because if you do, you might probably be stopping to rely on your faith, and tapping into a higher source of confidence that goes beyond just your own abilities. So there is not going to be a day when you and I have perfect pillars. The beauty of this journey is continual awareness, continuing to pursue the growth, knowing that there is always room for us to become better in the strength of each of these pillars. I just wanted to add that. Thank you very much, Fanis. I'm going to ask Jacqueline and then Rachel. These are the only people I see on video. So Jacqueline, we're gonna have you, and then Rachel. You're still muted, Jacqueline. Please ask your staff to unmute you. Yes, thank you.
Thank you. Mine is on action and accountability.
Yeah.
Yesterday, I went through one of those days when I just thought I will call those 20 clients tomorrow.
Yeah.
And now you talked about it. And now when I woke up earlier on, I was asking myself, I was expecting something to happen and it did not happen. So that completely threw me off.
Yeah.
So I was asking myself, why am I in that space? What is it I need to do so that I'm able to not be thrown in a space, in that space where I'm not able to take action or even replace what I was expecting to happen with something else that can take me in the direction I want to go.
Yeah.
So
That's a deep question. That's a question for all of us to ask. And yeah, so I don't know how I ended up with 20, and you also mentioned 20 because let me tell you, when I was giving that example, my mind came to 15. Then I was like, no, there is someone on this channel who has a floor of 15, so let me use a different number. So I didn't realize that. I went to your number. All right, let's just you keep going, keep doing what you can. Let's hear from Rachel.
Yeah, good morning, Tari, everyone. The foundation are very strong, and I was really thinking and looking back to my foundation, and maybe or maybe not how faulty they have been, especially on openness and growth. The fear, the fear and everything. So that is a very strong foundation to me, because every time that you want to be all this perfect, you don't want to try the new things for you so that you don't fail. And that Lily carried the never ending learning, like, in that pillar. Like, if you really want to grow,
Yeah.
you need to learn. You need to keep on learning so that you can do it. Not running away, but you keep on learning so that you can perfect on it. So that's, I'm still thinking deep. I'm still sold out to those two pillars. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much, Rachel. That's this is all about self-awareness. So the more self-aware we all are, the better everything will be. So you knowing what pillar, even just resonating more with one pillar, that points towards you that there is a reason why there's something that you need to look at. So for example, for Jacqueline, for me, from me to you, I would want you to ask the question of why is it that, for example, what you're expecting when it didn't happen, why did it throw you off? Because that is where the answer lies. What happened? That's going to happen every single day almost. There will be something that doesn't go the way you want. And that is for all of us. When things don't happen the way we want, why do we find ourselves thrown off? What is it that makes me so thrown off when something I expected did not happen? And so that will be it. You will continue doing this inquiry on your own. What is your relationship to each of these pillars? Which of these pillars are you making progress with, and which one are you neglecting? And then we will proceed and do the daily reset. Remember our foundational precept: intentionality gives me the power to embody the identity God designed for me. And when we are speaking about foundation, we are speaking about body specifically. We are speaking about that component, body. We are giving structure, and the structure you are giving it is not physical, although we are using a physical metaphor. You are giving it a really deep spiritual structure, and this structure dictates everything else. So utilize this framework of foundations to try and rewrite your personal vision, because sometimes we write a personal vision that is not balanced, because this personal vision does not empower us to defend against these quote unquote tornadoes that we know will happen. And we end up writing a personal vision focused on an external project rather than grounded on an internal, deep, authentic need that we know we will always need. We will always need intrinsic motivation. We will always need a deep self-awareness. We will always need focus. So you write it anchored deep within rather than anchored outside. Intentionality gives you the power to do that, to embody the identity, to embody an elevated identity and bridge the gap between the me now, the you now, and the me next, the you next. You continue acting from the role of master. Sit like a master during this meeting, then operate like a master the rest of the day. You are the master of your focus. If your focus is swaying, then we know the master needs to be fired. We need to hire a different master who can act like a leader, a role model, and a problem solver. Continue to work with the agreement. Do not make assumptions, and now it's time for you to do your intentionality declaration, and then we proceed with the daily reset. So go ahead and do it. This is not meant to be read. If you're just reading it, you are entertaining yourself. You don't read it, you don't verbalize it, you do it. In the past, I felt powerless. I allowed external forces and limiting beliefs to hold me back. Yet today, I am seizing back my power. Today, I'm determined to direct my intentions, master my focus, and take command of my actions. I am determined to shape my reality with purpose. I am willing to carry myself as a leader, a role model, and problem solver in all situations. I am determined to shape my reality with purpose. Today, I am determined to direct my intentions, master my focus, and take command of my actions. It's time for you to do your daily reset. We are at 4 minutes past 6. If you are new, I don't see anyone new. The daily reset is those 5 pieces. You use them to set your intentions for the day. Please open your chat box in the meantime. Open your chat box and get ready to share your reflection. I will only read the ones that are available. And at the count of 3, we will move on. Please open your chat box, and then you will continue doing your daily reset. Share one takeaway from the first part. One takeaway from the first part, and share what you're claiming today. May I suggest you claim something related to one of the pillars? So just claim whatever pillar you feel most aligned to. And whatever pillar you claim, please release its negative. Pick a pillar, claim it. If you are claiming focus, you are releasing directionlessness or drifting or cruising through life. I shouldn't have said it like that. It sounds brutal. Cruising through life. Brenda, I see your message here. Gladys, I've seen your reflection. There is no gap in any foundation pillar. I claim a shift to a higher gear in deep self-awareness. Thank you, Gladys. Could we please have more reflections? I'm going to allow a couple of more seconds. And if you hear me count 3, 2, 1, we will have moved. So please share your reflections. Fanis, I see your daily reset statement. Today, I am claiming deep self-awareness. Waiting for your, just type your reflection so that it stays in the chat, Fanis. Shalene says, the foundations that resonate most with me are most likely the emotions that I am grappling with. Yeah, thank you, Shalene. And Shalene says, I claim action and accountability. James says, in my journey, I can engage my gaps, my GPS, focus, openness to growth, to a higher gear to embrace mistakes, and turn on my focus wheel drive, resilience, to navigate this rough terrain as I expand my comfort zone to drive farther every day than the day before. In my journey, I can engage my GPS focus, openness to growth, to high gear, to embrace mistakes and turn on my focus wheel drive, resilience, to navigate this rough terrain as I expand my comfort zone, to drive farther every day than the day before. Thank you, James. That is beautiful. I need to come back and actually reread it again. So that is what we call Jamesitis. Just see it, and that's been written by James. Thank you, James. James says, I'm claiming focus and I'm releasing directionlessness. Sylvia says, I am claiming a clear direction. Mary Joy says, my failure to put up a pillar in place is an invitation to failure. My failure to put up a pillar in place is an invitation to failure. I like the ring of that. And Mary Joy says, I am claiming focus. Could we have a couple more people share their reflections? More people share their reflections. Jacqueline says, I'm claiming action. Shiro says, my biggest struggle is somedayitis, and I am releasing it to embrace action and ignite excitement to deal head on with all the setbacks lined up on my path to greatness. My biggest struggle is somedayitis, and I am releasing it to embrace action and ignite excitement to deal head on with all the setbacks lined up on my path to greatness. I love it. Thank you, Shiro. That's just beautiful. Wanjiko says, my pillars will represent more in different seasons. I need to identify which pillars are aligning with my current season. That is absolutely true. Wanjiko says, I am claiming focus. Rachel says, my take home is openness to growth, to overcome my fears to failure. Rachel says, I am claiming learning. Thank you, Rachel. Eunice says, action is my takeaway. I am releasing procrastination. Fanny says, I have the choice to pick between focusing on my foundation or the negative. There is no perfect pillar, but I have the choice to work every day on them. I have the choice to pick between focusing on my foundation or the negative. There is no perfect pillar, but I have the choice to work every day on them. Thank you for that, Fanny. Right, at the count of 3, 2, 1, 0, we will move. Betty says, I'm releasing procrastination. If I don't see another one in 3, 2, 1, 0, we move with the rest. Please remember to complete this remaining segment. Run the tapes of last week if you haven't finished last week. If you have, run the tapes of this couple of days that have already passed. And then create your mindful day. Please don't start the day before you create it. Nobody starts building a house before the architects finish designing it. So design your day before you go ahead and live it. That will be the end of the daily reset today. My name is Dr. Job Mogire from the House of Mastery. I will see you again here tomorrow.